Hello you, Balls96, but the O is 0, and we are on to the latest in our Euros themed videos with another nostalgia fueled hit, as today we are looking at some of the great teams gone by, specifically who I would put as the top 5 best teams of European Championships history. This video is going to be full of the history of this great tournament, so if that sounds rather intriguing, make sure to stick around and watch the rest of this video on the top 5 best European Championship teams ever. 5th, West Germany, 1972, beginning this list with a team who technically don't exist anymore. West Germany were the better of the two to come from the splitting of the nation after World War II, and this was the first Euros in which West Germany ever featured in to kickstart a winning period of 2 European Championships and 1 World Cup trophy in 3 of 5 major tournaments and runner-up in 1 of the other ones. This was undeniably a great team. If we were basing this list on how much success the team had, then West Germany would come pretty close to the top. But for this list, this specific team of 1972 are going to have to make do with 5th place, beating England by 3-1 at Wembley in the quarter-finals before a 0-0 draw in the second leg. Yes, back then they had multiple ties in the championships. That was a highlight to say the least, and then they went on to cruise to victories against Belgium in the semi-finals and the Soviet Union in the final to take home the trophy. The best team of the tournament in 1972 featured 7 of West Germany's players, which is an unbelievable stat to say the least. And out of those players, the 2 big hitters were Gerd Müller up top and Franz Beckenbauer at the back. A Golden Ball winner that tournament leading your attack, and a Ballon d'Or winner that year leading your defence. It doesn't get much better than that, but if you can think of a team who had a better striker and defender leadership dynamic, let me know in the comments. 4th, Netherlands, 1988. Now this was a team that has gone down in history, and a team that is usually up near the top when people are asked of who their favourite international teams have been over the years. At the time, it had been a long time coming for the Netherlands to win a major trophy, but come to 1988, and they did so in style with 4 undeniably legendary players at the core of the team. They had the masterful talent of Frank Rijkaard dominating at the back with his partner, the man who somehow scored 240 goals across 684 club games and 14 goals across 78 international games from the defence, Ronald Koeman. A partnership that is definitely up there as one of the best had in front of it one of the gods of the game, Ruud Gullit. A footballing genius who could do every single facet of the game. He could tackle, he could pass, he could score. Hell, I'm convinced he could do a job in goal if you asked him. And then to finish off that core, you had one of the best strikers to have ever existed and the best player of the tournament, Marco van Basten. Without speaking of his performances or the team, they deserve a place on this list just for his goal in the final. The most famous volley ever and one of the best goals ever scored, and I reiterate, this took place in a final of one of the most major competitions in the sport. You cannot not love this team. Before we move on to the top 3 best teams in European Championship history, I just want to take a second to ask you watching this video on your commute to support the channel and hit that subscribe button. It is the biggest thing you can do to help keep this channel going, so if that is what you want, make sure to hit it now. 3rd, France, 1984, onto one of the greatest teams of all time with one of the greatest players of all time standing out amongst the rest. If any team in any tournament has ever been synonymous with one player, then it is the European Championship in 1984 with Michel Platini. The man scored 9 goals from 5 games. 9! That was 6 more than anyone else managed across the entire competition, and he actually held the record for most goals scored in the Euros by any player until 2021, when Cristiano Ronaldo finally surpassed it, and Platini did that from just 1 iteration of the championships. And from midfield, captain of the team and Ballon d'Or winner for 3 years straight, with this tournament being smack bang in the middle of it, we are talking about one of the greatest players to have ever lived. It would be a disservice not to mention some of the other great players like Jean Takana and Alain Giresse, who played major parts in what proved to be one of the most stylish and fluid teams we've ever seen in this tournament. But when I look back at this tournament, which took place before my time, it reminds me of a certain Maradona with the Argentina team of 1986. The star of the team, but a great team nevertheless. France make it into this list. 2nd, France 2000, and France make it into this list yet again, this time with a team in the 21st century. Historians of the game might think me mad for putting them above the 1984 French side, but I think this is more than just. Arguably one of the greatest European Championships to take place, and with some of the most difficult squads partaking for any team to win this tournament. they should be making their way into this list. I read about the best XI of the tournament when doing my research on this one, and I'm going to steal that and put it in here just to illustrate just how difficult the competition was at this tournament. Francesco Toldo, Lilian Thuram, Fabio Cannavaro, Laurent Blanc, Paolo Maldini, Luis Figo, Patrick Vieira, Zinedine Zidane, Edgar Davids, Francesco Totti, and Patrick Kluivert. I'm sorry, but what? Legends of the game. And with a number of those names featuring in this France team, and others such as Marcel Desailly, Thierry Henry, Robert Pires, Nicolas Anelka, and David Trezeguet, there is no doubt in my mind that they deserve to be this high in this list for me. But let me know in the comments whether you think the France 84 team should have come out above them. First, Spain 2012. This is it, the pinnacle of this list, and it is a team who could be in here for either 2008 or 2012. The only nation to have ever retained the European Championship, and it was virtually comprised of the same players who are all legends of the game. The footballing world has never seen dominance like it on an international scale. Winning all 3 major tournaments across 4 years is completely unprecedented, and I don't think that we will ever see that sort of dominance again. There were a couple of missing faces like Carlos Puyol and David Villa through injury, but just listen to all of the names in this team from 2012. Iker Casillas, Victor Valdez, Pepe Reina, Jordi Alba, Raul Albiol, Alvaro Arbeloa, Sergio Ramos, Juan Fran, Piqué, Inigo Martinez, Xabi Alonso, David Silva, Xavi, Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, Cesc Fabregas, Santi Cazorla, Jesus Navas, Juan Mata, Fernando Llorente, Fernando Torres, Alvaro Negredo, and Pedro. Honestly, what is that team? It is just world-class talent in every single position. How did any other team have any chance against them? Well, they didn't. Progressing through the tournament without losing a single game, Spain went on to be crowned European champions for the second time on the bounce after a mauling of Italy in the final by 4-0. A team for the ages, a team who could pass the ball a million times with their eyes closed, a team that virtually began the dawn of the false nine, and a team that is going down as my greatest Euros team of all time. And there we have it, guys. Those are who I think are the top 5 best European Championship teams ever. Do you agree with my picks, or are there any teams you think should have made the cut? Make sure to let me know down in the comments, and whilst you are at it, please remember to drop a like and subscribe too, and then why don't you shift over to X, Instagram, TikTok, or even Twitch if you want to see more of the content that you love. Just type in Bolts96 on any of those socials to find me, but just remember that the O is a 0. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.